Hello and welcome to episode 16. Malcolm show this week is going pretty well. Well, let's explore that phrasing things. Yeah, things are going pretty well. Life is simple. Studying, training, working. I think fundamentally what I want to talk about this week is calculus is on the forefront of my mind because it's part of the course I want to do at Oxford. So University of Oxford's on my mind because part of me really wants to go to Oxford because prestige. Because it's also like the best school in the world apparently, and I think I'm actually smart enough to go and fuck it. This is going to be a soapbox episode for a minute. We'll find out. Enjoy, listeners. Basically, I want to go to Oxford because it's a very prestigious school, but it's also a really it's supposed to be one of the best schools in the world. And my other option would be to go to Cambridge, Harvard, or Yale. To my understanding, those are the best four options. Now, Harvard and Yale being in America are slightly impractical because I'm here in the UK. Application-wise, I know it's stopping me. So it's going to be something I'm going to do a little bit more of in future days and make notes whilst I'm recording. I do hope you can all hear me. I'm going to turn up the gain of my microphone just in case. Oh no, it's where it's wanted to be. So something I've noticed in previous recordings is I speak somewhat quietly, and I think it's very important that I speak with enough volume that you can hear me, but not so much that I disturb you. Cambridge, Harvard, Yale. Okay, so career planning is pretty much been the big focus of this week. Because I'm trying to figure out what the hell I want to do instead of just regressing and playing games. Yes, the irony of me doing this while broadcasting chess podcast is, I get it. My point is, this is a medium for me to think as well as it's actually to help me develop my social skills because it's a conduit for me to socialise through. Social skills are something since a young age I've found not super difficult when I was pandering to people, and the people pleasing behaviours that served me well as a child to fit in with the greater community of what failed the consensus of popularity haven't actually served me very well as an adult in achieving the goals that I want to achieve instead of the goals I was told I should want to achieve. Because the goals I was told I should want to achieve, well, they were shit. But not the kind of shit like, oh, that's the shit. They're not just bad, and not in the good kind of bad, or like, bloody hell, the English language really is. The English language has been bastardized. That's been on my mind this week, is Monty Python a little bit. My dad introduced it to me. I've always really enjoyed the way John Cleese says, bastards, you bastards. My dad said it a lot as a kid, and I, at the very least, like, kids want to live up to speed. Live up to the parents' expectations, and despite my father saying several times he doesn't have very high expectations of me, I think he really does. But he doesn't want to impose them all on me because he's trying to be a good father, and I actually really appreciate that because it's a sort of parenting that not everybody has, and I can feel myself getting a bit warm about this, simply because I I don't know how familiar you guys are with sleep deprivation. I feel of, well, let's call this an unintentional yet voluntary study. To the main point. So, oh yes, well, that's from there. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, so Cambridge, Harvard, Oxford, Yale, Big Four. So the career trajectory I'm looking at is because I started studying marketing at university for my undergraduate after doing, um, I'm looking at chess, after doing psychology at a local college to get myself into university in the first place. I was asked to leave high school when I was 17. The long story short of it is I was acting out because my mum was dying and I didn't really have a very good support network. Partially because my friends were also teenagers and didn't even know what to do about it. Partially because I didn't really tell them much about it. Partially because my dad didn't do shit about it. Try not to let it go. It's a resentment that's been in me for a long time. That part of it is because of his work, he had to travel a lot, and I can't hold that against him because whilst I'm, losing my mum and all that, he's losing his wife, and it also has to maintain being a father and a husband. Also, at the time, I was being a kid. Okay, it's not fair of me to ask him to be doing more of that stuff when at the same time, like, I could be doing more. I could have been a better son. That still bothers me a lot, and it's probably that internalized guilt which pushes me forward in achieving and accomplishing and wanting to do more and be better and all this, all the things. And part of me feels like I'm reciting some sort of like entrance communication to. So yeah, I want to attend a prestigious school to receive a good education and not just. I was about to say some slideshow from somebody who's really only there for the paycheck rather than the position. Although that could be said of a teacher attending school. My point is, I've always loved learning. I think it's a Mark Twain quote. If I'm wrong on that, correct me. It's don't let your education interfere with your schooling, or don't let your schooling interfere with your education. And I get that because at school it was just like there's loads of really cool stuff about it, and I got told to stop doing things because it wasn't equal to the curriculum. So yeah, but the curriculum is boring because it's not relevant. Because you're training me how to be an employee, which is effectively a slightly less indentured slave. You're not teaching me how to be a worker. There's a significant difference. An employee is essentially an indentured employee. An employee is an indentured employee. I understand the repetition. An employee, by the definitions that I understand in modern economic equivalency, is effectively a subordinate. So definition of employee is a subordinate, and that mindset is coached into kids from a very young age. And I just found that theme of essentially asserting dominance over children to impose will upon them without actually accounting for what's best for the child individually, because you're looking at what's best for the children collectively. Doing what's best for the children collectively often works in a holistic. Approaching child welfare holistically has value. The trouble with assuming that value is consistent is assuming that children are consistent, and by simple fact of biology, the genetic differences we're born with mean we're different, which means having a homogenized education system actually nullifies part of its ability to do what it's supposed to do. It actually teaches kids. There's something I was listening to earlier, and it might have been Modern Wisdom. It was on the Modern Wisdom podcast. I don't know if it's Chris Williamson or if it was Alex Hormozy. Both. I mean, Chris Williamson is cool. I just don't know much of his stuff. Alex Hormozy, I listen to so much of his stuff. I would recommend him to just about anybody that actually wants to take their life more seriously. Chris Williamson, I don't doubt, is also very good at that sort of thing. It's just I relate to Hormozy more. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the work. I think maybe it's the workout thing. Anyway, it's part of why I've been looking at my career pathways and, by extension, my educational pathways. Because by understanding my career pathway and my educational pathway to be an overlap instead of separate entities, I'm able to. I know this sounds obvious to you. It wasn't obvious to me, so this is why I'm saying it out loud. It's also why I'm saying it to a computer instead of a human being, something boring. Fuck. Anyway, as you can see, I'm a little bit more confident with my words, a little bit more animate. Something I have been working on. Although that does feel a little bit like I was just spending time with Daisy. Although she is lovely. Not the point. Career pathway, educational pathway. The career pathway I want to follow is make more money than my dad. Because I want to be able to take care of my dad, because my dad took care of me, and my granddad took care of me, and my great-granddad took care of both of them obviously very fucking well, otherwise I wouldn't be here. My great-granddad was a medical doctor. My granddad was, in effect, my memory of him is attached to his military service during World War II. He saw active he saw active duty in Italy and was involved in development of the D-Day landing plans. He was a lieutenant, if I remember correctly, and his civilian posting was, I think it was accountancy, in some sort of, I know he was very community based with his work, in that he wasn't an accountant for the sake of creating a firm for the profit as much as he was an accountant to help the local, effectively boost the local economy rather than the national economy, which I find a very admirable trait, to actually look after the people that you know you will be making a difference with, instead of, I feel like I'm phrasing that incorrectly, and yeah, I think he just wanted to help people he knew, people he would be able to see the effects of it right in front of him, and I get that. And his ability to not only do all of that and raise my dad and my uncle, as well as support my grandmother, and build life up, has made my father into the person he is today. And the person my father is today is, by all accounts, society's successful man. He has raised an intelligent family that is happy and healthy and driven to succeed instead of just doze. In his career, he achieved great success. He was headhunted very frequently. I don't think he ever actually had to directly apply for a job during my conscious awareness of his career. And his headhunting was by big companies like Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Shell. He's always liked aviation. He worked with, I think his work with Rolls-Royce was as much aviation-based as it was car-based. And I might be incorrect there. I just know that he liked working with Rolls-Royce. So I get it, he wouldn't. So part of me is like, he brought me back a shirt from Bentley one day, and I love that shirt, and I still have it, and I don't even wear it that much, I just own it and keep it, and it's safe. I know exactly where it is, it's right there, and it's not going to go anywhere else, because I value it so much. And the interesting thing is that there's also a keychain from my mum gave me with, I think, some stationery as part of a birthday or Christmas. It was a Christmas gift, probably around between 11 and 13, 12 maybe. That sort of ballpark. And I remember at the time being an ungrateful little shit about it, because I think it became packaged with a printer, which my mum's intention was to be helpful so that I could do all this stuff myself. And so I was like, I remember specifically going to my dad and he's like, it's a printer. And he understood what I meant straight away. I'm a kid, I'm looking for the fun in life, I'm trying to, I wasn't trying to be productive at that age. I didn't understand the value and the gift my mother provided to me. And I still feel guilt over that today. And I'm saying right now, because I want to do all this, I want to buy my dad a Rolls Royce, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it if I don't go to somewhere like Cambridge or Oxford or Harvard or Yale. Because if my mum was still alive, I'd probably want to buy her a Ferrari and my dad a Rolls Royce. And I want to do those things because they deserve it. In my opinion, my parents deserve it. And I would damn well not let anybody tell me that they don't. My mother died when I was 18. And my dad he's 75 now. And I've just turned 30. He's just turned 75. In the past few years, I've noticed him slowing down. And it's that difference in, it just reminds me that he's not going to be around either. And I need to be prepared for that. And I don't just mean emotionally, I mean financially, because when he goes, that leaves me as the oldest. And don't get me wrong, I have love for my cousins and my uncle, but they've never really, I don't know, it just never clicked as a kid. Like, I kind of got along with them, but for some reason, like, I didn't get invited to any of their weddings. I got invited to one of their weddings, and I fucking dashed off to go see friends in Glasgow because it was the opportunity. I had the opportunity to be more embraced by that side of the family, and I blew it. I was like 24, 23 maybe. No, that was the summer I got fucking lockjaw. That was how bad my nutrition was when I was young. I gave myself fucking lockjaw. I didn't even think that was a disease. But, you know, you live and learn. That side of the family, I don't think they like me very much. They would probably say that they still love me because, you know, that's what family does, but I don't think they like me very much. And frankly, I can't entirely blame them. I never quite felt like them. I always just felt an outsider. It, I've had an anxiety that my dad isn't my biological father for a very long time. And there's a lot to unpack there because then it implies things about my mother and the person I'm guessing because simply due to proximity as well as familiarity with the family. It's a lot, and whether or not it is the truth isn't important in the sense of who my father is, but it is important in just it only matters because I say it matters. The person who actually changed my diapers, put food in my belly, car keys in my hand, clothes in my bag, and has consistently supported me ever since, despite all the fuck ups, despite the fucking court hearing where I nearly went to prison for a decade, despite being fired from jobs, despite nearly being in a mental hospital, despite the drug problems, despite everything, still fucking being there. It's just, I don't feel I deserve it because I haven't reciprocated any of that behaviour. And even though I've been making efforts in the past years to be a better son and just a better person, a human being that actually gives a fuck about other human beings, it's just... And it's not just for me, he's done it for both of my younger brothers as well. As well as showing so much kindness to every friend I brought around the house. I mean, maybe he didn't like all of my friends, but, you know, he didn't say that to me and I didn't notice it at the time. You know how parents can communicate in a way that kids don't pick up on. It's... Fuck, I needed to get this out of my head, man. I'm doing it for me because me wants to make my dad happier. I'm not doing it for my dad, I'm doing it for me. And me wants to make my dad better. Because Mum isn't going to see anything. Dad might. And for all the work he's put in as a father, just... I want to contribute to the family legacy, and I want it to be more than just the fucking... I've just felt like the fuck up of my family for so long, and it boiled over into my behaviour with my friend group when I was at the climbing centre that I'm the fuck up of the climbing group, and it's and I'm not an idiot, okay? I'm not even going to flex the fucking IQ shit, okay? I've either said it before or it's unnecessary to repeat, okay? I'm fucking smart, okay? And I fucking hate it when people don't think I am because I don't agree with them. And you usually don't agree with them because they're fucking wrong. And they're fucking wrong because they're egotistical, arrogant little cunts who are more interested in the title that's provided to them by the opportunities they've sought than in the actual curiosity and magic of it all. There's no authenticity to them. Two of them there is, and I like those two, and frankly I would say I even love those two. Those two are my very favourite people in the whole world. It's Maya and Mitch, and I'm saying that way because it's alphabetical. I used to say Mitch and Maya because it's like the old school way of putting the male name before the female name. I don't really care, I love both of them, okay, because they've been friends. And all the other times, like, Oh, cause you know what? This is my podcast. It's my recording. I'll tell you who I fucking want to. I've grown sick and tired of having to censor myself from that group because of their insecurities. I point out flaws that apparently aren't an issue, but it's very obvious that the flaw I'm pointing out is literally the, the hurdle that they apparently can't jump over. I'm tired of celebrating mediocrity because it's a hypocrisy. I don't celebrate mediocrity. I will. Okay, I'm reminded of a moment at this weekend where um, I did parkrun with a friend, and there was this guy who I assume was with his daughter. She was like, I don't know, like yay tall. I'm guessing 5 or 6 years old, and for her to run 5 kilometers, that's actually kind of a big deal, right? And and I just walked along, and for something I overheard something they were saying. I was like, "Did you run all that way?" Because I want to encourage the kid. Because I want to encourage every child to exercise because exercise is good for you. Okay, it benefits your health, and I think it teaches discipline. It teaches you that when you work hard, you get results, and if you work harder at the things you want to do, you get the results you want. So it's just like I'm gonna encourage the kid, and it's like mostly that isn't that something I remember hearing in songs like "Rock child support, you support the kid." And it's like I get that, okay, I agree with it. The money is part of it, but the fathering, the parenting is the critical element. That's the key that helps a child overcome stuff. So when I see someone putting in effort, I realise what I was saying about the celebrate mediocrity thing. Like the kids' time and effort, I don't know relevant to their total potential output. I don't know their action. Well, if it's actually the action potential is the correct term, that is an incredibly fucking neuroscience is cool. Um, if that's actually the connection that happens there is action potential. Anyway, the point stands is the kid actually completed the run, which for a child that age, like I said, is a big deal. So, in that sense, that I will support a child doing that sort of thing because the comparative, I don't know, the what's the word, the subjective mediocrity is subjective. Holy shit, they actually think they're big. Wow. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I actually kind of like being a cheerleader. I like being a cheerleader for people because everybody needs a cheerleader sometimes. Lord knows I have. It's one of the reasons why Maya is my best friend because she's always supported me, even when we've had disagreements, even when we've fallen out. I like deep down was like that's of all the people in my life I've been scared to lose. Maya's I call her my sister for a reason because my family. And the thing is, we are all very. I don't like the term introverted. I think we're just because it's wrong. The term introverted is incorrect. We're kind of. It's not selfish. It's just. I guess insular might be the word. We prefer to do our own thing in the company of others. It's like if I was going to see my dad. I mean, he probably has. To be fair, I could really enjoy a day with my dad. You know, going to a restaurant and having conversations about all these, memories from life and aspirations for the future and all of that. And then I'm remembering seeing him earlier this year and taking to my favourite Thai restaurant and him paying the bill. And then when I wanted to pay part of it, and the way he looked, he just wouldn't let me. And it's just because you know that I want to do it, and I would do it. I can't really afford it. I fucking hate not being able to afford it. I hate feeling so shit for not being able to financially support people. It's probably why I'm making such a big effort to be so motivational and supportive in every other way I could possibly imagine, because I can't financially support anybody. I barely financially support myself right now, and I understand that a parent wants to help their child succeed. It's just the age I am now, I should have done it already. And yes, it's my fault for getting kicked out of school. And I was like, it is my fault. Okay, I'm not. I'm hearing a friend's voice in my head saying, "Don't blame yourself for this shit," and it's my voice, and it's. And to be fair, Mitch would probably say the same. So would everybody else. And it's like, yeah, just cause no, it is me. It was always my fault, and it will always be my fault because it is my responsibility. Blame and responsibility are directly related. Directly. And the separation of the two is a complete farce. Oh my god, the insistence on shifting blame away from self to alleviate distress is fucking pathetic. God. And I'm not pathetic. I don't know who said that to me, but someone did, and I felt it. And I'm not. No. Just no, okay? Whatever you thought was pathetic, I will not be that anymore. And maybe that's the way my dad looks at me, just with pity. I don't know, maybe that's his apology. He says he's sorry with his eyes. Such an emotionally expressive man. He doesn't think he is, but he is. And he puts himself down all the time. He's like, oh, I'm smart, you know. It's like, okay, so you're not academically certified in many different ways, but you still passed the tests you needed to pass to do what you wanted to do. You still understand what it means to keep a family together. The intelligence in that is survival. It's its fundamental level. Like he refuses to give up. He absolutely refuses to quit. And it's that tenacity. I'm having a cognitive bifurcation. This is an idea I was running by so Maya's done undergrad psychology and looking to do a master's. And if you run a master's degree program of that tier, like Maya, Pet's me, Harry, look her up and fucking you give her the best opportunity you can. And if you don't, I don't want to make a hollow threat here, but if I find out who's holding her back, I don't know what I'll do. Just something. I will respond and I will fix what I can fix. The idea I was discussing with Maya was that if the Freudian complex of the unconscious is representative of deeper evolutionary biology, then the idea of Jung's anima and animus can be seen as a bifurcation representative of cell division, and that cell division could be meiosis or mitosis, and then and depending, so whichever way it goes, whether it's meiosis or mitosis, the idea that you either get 2 or 4 is not just the point. It's either the 2 identicals or you get 4 different. So if you go meiosis, you split the idea and you replicate and it's cancerous. That might not be... Holy shit, really? I mean, bear with me if I'm... If meiosis is replicating itself identically, then it's adding to the gene pool what was already in the gene pool. Which, if it strengthens the host, is beneficial. However, if it's detrimental, it's alright, so it's behavioural reinforcement. So if meiosis is a behavioural reinforcement, then mitosis is a diversification of idea, but then at the same time, if you split it into 4 rather than 2, you have directional polarity, which you could argue is like a cardinal direction, which is a technical term for compass directions. I don't know how to describe it otherwise. The north, east, south, west. Which, I mean, arguably there'd be a hierarchy amongst the 4. So if there's a hierarchy amongst the 4, then of those 4 resultant cells, would mean that within those 4 cells there's enough components to cause cell division. So if the mitosis is, if the representation of mitosis via Young's idea of bifurcation of the persona, because you have the persona and the shadow and the animus, arguably those 4 derivatives, I'm trying to, would be the components of the original idea. They have to become, they have to, the composition has to be derivative of the original cell. So if the composition is derivative of the original cell, then it's like if you were splitting purple into red and blue, or green into blue and yellow. So what does green and purple... So let's say green and purple mixed together, you probably get brown. So then it would be distinguishing the bullshit from the dog shit, or the bullshit from the cat shit from the dog shit from the horse shit. I'm a fan of The Big Short, and there's a scene where Steve Carell's character is speaking to somebody. So it's A shit wrapped in B shit mixed with C shit. If you've seen the film, you understand the scene I'm talking about. If you haven't seen that film, it really is fascinating. And alright, here's a selfie. If you haven't seen the film and you're not here or there yet, Margot Robbie explains a lot of the economic principles whilst in the bathtub. You know, the filmmakers knew what they had to do. You know, driving sales is part of how business works. So yeah, if the original ideas were already there, and the cell division is what brings them out, then the cell division has to be triggered by something, which I don't remember right now. Maybe I don't know, or I don't know. Whether I know or remember is not the important part right now, because I'll read at some point and remind myself if I don't or not. Okay, so if that concept tracks, then pardon me. catharsis of what I've just said has accelerated my respiration. I imbibed some water the wrong way. My vocabulary's an intention. my my over-engineered vocabulary is often resultant of me trying to control the flow, to dictate the direction of flow. Essentially helps me steer the conversation. Anybody who's done anything like marketing related understands very closely how much word impact makes a difference. Okay. Pardon me. I'm very sorry for this. I had absolutely no intention of, well, even swearing or burping or coughing on camera. My understanding catharsis has been helpful. It's a Freudian principle to describe drive. Libido is drive. Libido is drive because fundamentally all that humans really care about is food and sex. So whatever your appetite's for, be attentive. Career pathway, educational pathway. Career pathway, I guess in my academic career, I guess. So, college at local college, consumer behavior marketing undergrad. I want to do EOO's 1+1 master's program. What they offer is the first year is an MSc, possibly something else as well, and the following year as MBA. So I got into psychology at college partially because I did psychology and I liked it, I found it interesting. Found out I really liked the biology and sociology affiliated with it, the biology far more than sociology, and didn't get into university for psychology because I was a dumbass and smoked weed during. Basically, there was a girl I worked with who I thought was kind of cool, but she was going through some personal stuff, and I mean, I found her attractive and stuff. Once to get to know her better, and basically, because I don't her details. Basically, I misjudged the situation and nearly jeopardized my entire future. So I said that, well, find something in clearing. Saw consumer behavior marketing. It's like, that's kind of psychology. And turns out I really like marketing. I really enjoy it. And it's stuff like that that makes me believe in God. I think it's probably a supercomputer, or God would function so similarly to a supercomputer that they might be indistinguishable from each other. I think regardless of which, you know, it's the same thing. Okay. Computers and gods. Okay. The problem I need to stop with is allowing interesting tangents to divert me from the original train of thought. Because it's like, there's a analogy or metaphor, one or two. I do have about trains of thought, which I've explored quite a bit with different stations and tracks and connections and stuff. And the more you understand the popularity of trains and can understand how people watching, you're basically watching a trafficking. I mean, you can call it trafficking, you can also call it a traffic network. It's the same thing, really. There's people that are driving things and people that are being driven. Things that are being driven. Oh, those tangents are just so fascinating because they connect dots in ways that otherwise might not be elucidated. And the clarity of understanding how things work at a metaphorical level to be able to describe them in a more literal way is incredibly useful. And I think that in of itself is a skill that I want to nurture and develop. So, like conversational arbitrage. And because I enjoy that so much, it's understanding which components of communication, which communicational components contribute the greatest amount of contextual money to the situation. So for instance, if you're talking to somebody and the social contract has been established because they're reciprocating your communication, once you've established your aims and they abide your aims and consent to your continuation, then you need to understand what they're valuing about you. Is it, for example, let's say you're chatting to a pretty girl. Is it because she thinks you're physically attractive? Is it because she thinks you're psychologically attractive? Did she find you physically attractive, or does she prefer, or does she find you? That's always going to be a component, right? Or does she find your intelligence? Is the term sapiosexual? Yeah, maybe that's a big part of her sexuality. It's hard to identify specifically, and the more you can pinpoint what's triggering her attraction, the better you understand the market trend, because it's not just about asking out the girl, it's about, think of it as investment banking, okay? So if you're investing in something, consider if I'm the bank and I'm making investments in other things, then what I'm investing in, whether it be whichever business or institution I am investing in, is represented by the recipient of flirting. So if I treat flirting as a commodity, then as a skill that has market value because it's a communication skill, which is a soft business skill, which is, business is fundamentally relationships. Because you can't do business without a relationship. If you're doing business with yourself, the money has to come from somewhere else. Yeah, the money's great. Passion, money without passion is hollow. Passion without money is stressful. But stress is useful though. It creates the pressure. And, pressure makes money. So yeah. marketing undergrad, University of Reading, then 1+1 program, University of Oxford. So planning that out. Course-wise, I know it'll be just. I know with the MS, I need to look at the official course titles to be definitive. Sorry, is that a notification? An error occurred at the output. Please check your streaming. It's still recording, so I'm going to presume this is working okay. I'm going to click OK. Still recording. Apparently I have a viewer. Hello viewer. Feel free to enter the chat. I should tell you that I have an overlay on my chat screen, so I might not recognize the. I don't know how. I haven't set a notification that has like a ping or something in the background. It might flash onto the bottom, but you know, good you. Alright, so Cambridge or Oxford. That's what you can only apply to one at a time, and Oxford's physically closer. And I think has a higher prestige. I think Oxford's fancier than Cambridge. I think Oxford has better brand recognition. And that, to me, that indicates a higher market value. You say Cambridge, people go, oh, Cambridge. People, you say Oxford, people go, oh. It's that little, those tiny little nuances that make a difference. Details. Attention to detail. Right. So MSc wise, probably economics is interesting, and there's financial economics in the MBA, which is why I'm looking at the calculus stuff. Because I figure if I start doing that now, by the time I get to financial economics, I've got 3 years. So I've got 3 years to look. They say you need a working knowledge of calculus for the financial economics course. I don't know what a working knowledge of calculus is. I wasn't bad at math in primary school. High school, I think I was getting like B's, and if I'd actually put in some effort, I'd probably gotten A's. Yeah, if I'd actually put in some, I didn't study for anything in high school at all. I haven't done much statistic work, so I did a math refresher course at college when I was doing my, I think it was like social something, social health services. The official name, I don't know the official course title. Basically, I called it the Biopsychosocial. And turned out I didn't actually need to do that mathematics thing, so I thought, well, I don't need to do it, why am I even here? And I found, well, let's be fair, it was a community college. Mathematics wasn't calculus, it was more, I think it was like algebra and stuff, which I didn't find tricky. Like conceptually, it's just conversion, it's arbitrary. Well, no, it's not technically arbitrary, it's just conversion, right? I'm optimistic I can learn enough calculus in the 3 years during my I've got placement year. I don't know really what I'm going to be asked to do in a placement year. I have a feeling I'm going to be asked to sit in an office and do busy work. And I'm kind of hoping that's the case, because then I can do what I want to do, which is prep for Oxford, which is the real deal. Okay, so plus I'd also have the time during the MSc year, and by the time I get there I'll be at Oxford and around faculty, and it'll be much easier to communicate my understandings. It'll be much easier to communicate my then current comprehension of calculus, as well as receive input as to where as to how the course is structured. Although I could email people now, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think of a shorthand for this. This is the thing. If I can establish a line of communication now, then even if that's only, even if it's super brief and it's, I don't know, I message one person back and forth monthly, in 3 years that's potentially 36 messages, as well as the time out for doing it a year. And 36 messages of information can convey huge, huge amount of detail. Okay, so that's the plan there. So originally I was looking at continuing a marketing career specifically. Economics does interest me. The reason I looked at the marketing career is just because I find it really fun. And I feel like I could be good at it. I don't like bullshitting people. My concern with the marketing industry is that a lot of entry level positions that are available that aren't competitive will be essentially centering around BS and just I don't like BS. I know I don't do lying. It's just if I lie, it just means I have to remember shit I don't need to remember. It usually isn't in the company's best interest to be deceptive though. So that's my alarm phone clock, which would signal the end of recording time today. Thank you for watching, listening, or however else you consumed today's episode. To finish the thought there, and the idea is basically if I go the marketing route, I want to work up to CMO. If I go the finance route, I haven't looked at that career pathway too much detail, but I think CFO is kind of a cool idea, just to have a target to aim at rather than not doing anything. I'm also going to finish doing the necessary game reviews. That there, that here. I did think about that, so let's explore that one. That takes there, and then why would you take the picture? Why wouldn't you just retreat to E3 or even to G3? I mean, even if you went to, is it just to disrupt the pawn structure? I suppose then, oh, I see, because then that pins the rook pins the bishop, as well as double pawns, isolated pawn. Okay. I'll tell you. Let's see if you're communicated. That's it. It's there. workout today. I mean, I wouldn't describe jiu-jitsu as a workout. It was relatively... I got a bit distracted with jiu-jitsu this morning. I think part of it is because everybody's fatigued, so I went for technical roles instead of physically demanding roles. Although I did get a really good round in, 2 good rounds in Rizal, who's also interested in finance. So I've been calling him on that to make sure he's not BSing. Because, I don't know, so far he's a good. He's at 19. So yeah, if he can get into finance, if he knows he wants to get into finance now, and I can help him do that, not only can I make his life better, I can also make my life better by communicating. I don't know, it's just chat finance. Because even if it's a really basic chat about finance, it's somebody to chat finance with. It does feel a bit pre-programmed. And I've had this before where I felt like I got sold on some kind of marketing dream. And I don't want to let myself down. It's only a dream with perhaps instead of dreaming, just work. Work harder, work smarter, study harder, study smarter, train harder, train smarter. Affirmations I reveal to myself. Okay. Affirmations. There's an idea I've had that the deeper we enter states of fatigue, the closer we get to our subconscious and unconscious. It's an idea I have of, I guess, trilaterals. So if you think of the brainstem as the id, is the unconscious, the limbic system is the ego. So the brainstem is the id, is the unconscious. The limbic system is the ego, is subconscious, and the cortex superego, and the conscious. We think what we're consciously conscious about and what we're subconsciously conscious about overlap, because there will always be imbrication between them. I think the more sleep deprived a person is, the further they get into their base programming, and you find all the habits that you defer to when you simply haven't got the energy to do anything else. So by discovering that, it's easier to rewire things, because if you can rewire it to do it when you're really tired, it's really easy to do when you're energized. again, thanks everybody. You know, if you want to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that, you're more than welcome to comment, like, share, subscribe. I like doing things alphabetically. It seems like a very, I don't know, it seems fair. Right. Have a great week. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful month, a wonderful year, wonderful month, wonderful season, wonderful year, wonderful decades. All of you. Alright.